Morning. Morning.
Hey, good morning.
Morning.
Morning, Alan.
Morning. Harold, are you following YU basketball?
Yeah, I know they lost last night.
Yeah, I
Terrible.
just saw now. Yeah.
Yeah, they got killed. They were just they couldn't hit a basket.
I know. Did you see it live?
Yeah, I was watching. Yeah, my son gave me a link. Yeah.
Did the other team have a lot of Schwarzes on them? Probably.
No.
Yeah. White guys,
No.
huh?
White guys. Yeah.
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 Okay.
Well, yeah. So YU is ranked number 1. The other team was ranked number 4.
Right.
So they're a good team. They're a good team. They got an off night, and that was it.
All right. Happens. Yeah.
Yeah.
Know who? What this guy Lifer? You know the boy. His mother is a L.A. girl.
Oh, I didn't know that. Who is it?
Yeah, she just Joseph. I forgot his name. He used to live around the corner from me. I forgot. He used to go to Shards Villa. The father did.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the father did. The grandfather, and the girl was raised here.
Oh.
Gutman.
Oh, Gutman. Yes, Sir Gutman.
Yeah,
The fancy guy. Yeah.
Yeah, the fancy guy.
Oh, that's. Oh, I know who it. Astrid or what? I know. Yeah, those girls. The 3.
The mother is Astrid. It's the youngest daughter.
Yeah, Astrid. Yeah, the youngest one.
Very pretty girl.
Interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah, so that's the son. Yeah.
Oh, good to know. All right.
Yeah.
None of them are going to the NBA. That's for sure.
Yeah.
That's good.
Okay, we're on Yud Ches Amud Beis. We're going to do Yud test today. Haisaksuva b'sam. Sam is an ink called Sama. Sakra, Arav Chana Sikra Sashma. It's a kind of a reddish color. Kumus is kuma. This is a sap that comes out of a tree. Kantum, chartadush. It's like shoe polish for black shoes. Diphthera is the meliach ukmiach v'lo afitz. It's leather that was salted and flour was put on it, but not the gallnuts. Niyar, that's machka, which is paper. Achete ksuv ashuris. Megillah has to be written in ksav ashuris with the Hebrew square form of alphabet. T'chsiv kichsavam v'chizmanam. That's the writing of Klal Yisrael. Ala sefer uvidyo. It has to be written on parchment with ink. Minolan. Asya ksiva ksiva. We learn a hekesh. Ksiv hacha v'tichtov Esther Malka. Uksiv hasam. There in Yirmiyah, they wrote a certain document and they put it in jugs to store them. Vayomer lahem Baruch, this was Baruch ben Neriah, Nipiv yikrai light kol advarim ha'elav, ani kotev al sefer b'dio. And I wrote on a parchment with ink. So it says vayichtov or kotev, and by the Megillah it says vayichtov. So that's the hekesh, that it has to be done the same way. Mishnah. Ben Ir shahalach lekrach. Person in a city goes to a walled city. Or ben krach, a person in a walled city, shahalach le'ir, goes to a regular city. Im atid lachzor b'mkomo, if prior to Purim or on Purim he's going to be back in his hometown, korikim komo, he reads with his hometown. V'im lav korimon. You do as, when in Rome, do as the Romans do. So you do whatever the minig in that place is. So what is the reading of the Megillah that you're Yotzei? Rabbi Meir Omer Kula, you got to read the whole thing. Rabbi Omer Mi'ish Yehudi. That's enough. Rabbi Yossi Omer Ma'achad V'Meila. So it's a 3-year focus. Omer Rav Lo Shanu. Walter, on your test, we just did the Mishnah.
Then what did you do? Sorry.
We just did the Mishnah on your test. Now we're going to start the Gemara.
Okay.
So we're talking about a person from a walled city who visited an unwalled city. We say that if he's destined to go home prior to Purim, so that he'll be in his hometown Purim, he reads the way his hometown reads. Otherwise, he reads the way whatever that city is doing. Like when in Rome, do as the Romans do. So that din is he's going to return the night of Purim. If he's not going to be back to the walled city the night of the 15th, right? No, if he's not going to be returning the night of the 14th, then he reads with the people in the city on the 14th. The people in an unwalled city, Osim et Yom Arba'asar, their Purim is 14th. Now, Michte Ksiva Yehudim HaPrazim, it already said the Yehudim HaPrazim. Lama li lemichte vayoshvim b'arei HaPrazim. Why do you have to repeat and say the people who live in Arei HaPrazim? It's superfluous. Akamash b'lan de Paruz ben Yom Nikra Paruz. It means anybody in that city on that day is called a Paruz, even if he lives in a walled city. But if he's there even for, if he's queen for a day. Okay. That taught me the din Ashkechan Paruz, Mukaf Minalan. Well, how do you know the same applies to a person who lives in a walled city? That it's the same din. Svarahu. If Mida Paruz ben Yom HaKorei Paruz, if a person visiting an unwalled city for that one day is called a Paruz, Mukaf ben Yom HaKorei Mukaf as well. Shouldn't be any different. Amar Rav ben Kfar Shahalach Le'ir. The Kfarim that read even earlier, they can read on the 11th, on the 12th, but he's visiting the city. Benkach u Benkach Korimon. He always reads with the city. My timer. Hai kibnei ir boile mikri. Really, he should always have read with when the city reads. It's Rabbanan hu dakili ala kfarim. The Rabbanan made a kula that the villagers can read earlier. In order that they'll be available to provide food and drink for their brothers in the city. But that's if they're still in the village. But if they're in the city, they certainly read like the city. However, Abaya asked the following questions. Ben Krach Shahalach Le'ir, a person who lives in a walled city visited an unwalled city. It says, Ben Kach u Ben Kach Korbim Koma. Says it doesn't make a difference. He reads like the place where he's in. I don't understand. Ben Krach Sal Kedaita? He doesn't always read like his place. It's only B'Yamasid Lachzor Tayamilsa. It has to do, we said, whether he plans to be back in the walled city on time. So Elalah must be referring to a Ben Kvar. and not a ben krach. So the Gemara says that's not an answer. V'lav terutz mitartz. You still don't fix the baraisa that you quoted. You would have to change its girsa. So in a chanami says the Gemara tani kore imohen. And so in a chanami, the villager reads with them as well. Me'echan koradim es Megillah. The Mishnah went through a machlokes. Rav Meir said you read the whole Megillah. Rav Yudah said from Ish Yehudi, and Rav Yossi from the start of the third parak achar d'remeila. Tanya Rishon ben Yochai Omer mi balayla hahu. Not a dashnas hamelech. Even different. The beginning of parak vav. Rav Yochanan, and all four of these Tanoim, Kulon Mikra Echad Darshu, they all darshaned their source from the following pasuk. Vatichtov Esther Malka Mordechai Udi Es Kol Tokef. Es Kol Tokef means they wrote what was important. So Mandam Kula is Tok Voshalach Hashverosh. You need the whole story of Achashverosh, and the story of the Achashverosh starts from the beginning of the Megillah. Mandam Rishi Yehudi Tok Voshal Mordechai. The primary content is the story of Mordechai. So according to that mandam, you only have to start from Ish Yehudi, which introduces Mordechai. Mandam Machad Varmael Tok Voshal Haman, that the subject matter that needs to be addressed is the issue of Haman, and Haman is introduced only by Perek Gimel. Umandam Balaylahu Tok Voshal Nes. The Nes that HaKadosh Baruch Hu starts doing is from Balaylahu, and he disturbs the sleep of Achashverosh, leading to the reward to Mordechai. Ravun Amar Mehacha Umara'u al Kacha Umahigi Alehem, what they saw and what had happened to them. Manda Amar Kula as Mara Achashverosh. What was the vision of Achashverosh? Shenishtamish Bakelim Shebeis Hamikdash. That he used the Kalim of the Beis Hamikdash al Kacha. And why did he do it? Mishum dechashav shivim shanim v'lo yifrik. He had done a false calculation of 70 years, and they still hadn't been redeemed. Umayigi alehen, the kotel Vashti. What eventually occurred? He killed Vashti. Madam amish yudi mara Mordechai dikni b'Haman. Why? What was seen about Mordechai that Haman became upset about? Al Kacha, the Shavi Nafshi Avodah Zarah, because Haman made himself to an Avodah Zarah. Umaygi Alehem, and the whole episode, this Rachesh Nisa, led to the nace being performed. What led Haman to want to kill all the Jews? Al Kacha Mishum de Mordechai lo yichrav lo yishtachaveh, because Mordechai did not want to bow. Umaygi Alehem, what happened? The Talo Osov, it came out that he was hung. What did Achashverosh see that he wanted to bring the book of memory for him to be reading it? Al Kacha, the Zimsi Esther Lavan Badei, like we learned. The fact that Esther invited Haman made Achashverosh start thinking, well, there's a plot against me, and there's nobody to save me against the plot. And then, oh, maybe there's somebody who I owe a favor I didn't pay back. That's what led him to bring the sefer. Allah is like Rav Meir that we have to read the whole Megillah. And even according to Manda Omar, who says you read from Ish Yehudi, it still has, you need to read it from a Megillah that's a complete Megillah that starts from the beginning. You maybe only have to read it from Ish Yehudi. Amar Rav Chelbo, Amar Rav Chama Bar Grim, Rav Megillah Nikra Sefer v'Nikra Sigeres. It's a book, but it's also called a letter. Nikra Sefer Shem Tavra B'chutei Pishtam Sula. You got to write it with real. You got to sew it up with real bindings. If you use linen bindings, it's possible. But Nikra Sigeres Shem Hitil B'Shloisha Chutei Gidin Kshera. But if at a minimum you had only three threads of gid, it's still kosher. Because I guess that's how they used to do letters. Amrav Nachman Vachiu Meshulosh, and they have to be 3-ply. Amrav Yidam Shmuel Hakor Megillah Ksuva Ben Aksuvim. You have a Tanakh, and you read a Megillah from a Tanakh Lo Yotza. Amrav Rav Eloy Amar Nela Deloy Michzro Maisra Porta. That is, the Megillah itself doesn't have any mistakes, but aval michzor miyas report to lesson bog. If the Megillah is a little bigger or smaller in dimension from the rest of the Tanakh, and you can see that means if you cannot identify the Megillah easily from a Tanakh, then you can't learn from it. But if you can identify because it's bigger or smaller, then there's no Isser, and you can read from it. Levi bar Shmuel v'Kakori kamed Rav Yehuda b'Megillah Aksuva ben Aksuvim. He read it from a Megillah ben Aksuvim. Amar leHari Amra Akor b'Megillah Aksuva ben Aksuvim lo yotza. What about the halacha that if you read from a Tanakh, it's not good? Amar Rav Chia bar Rav Rav Yechon Akor b'Megillah Aksuva ben Aksuvim lo yotza. Umachu le'amocha. And you should put this, you should sort of hammer it into your head that B'tzibur Shanu, a Yachid can read a Megillah from a Tanakh. But if you're going to read a B'tzibur, you got to read it with a special Megillah that's Meyuchad that you can tell is different from the Tanakh or by itself. When you have a Sefer Torah, you don't use the various gidim when you sew up the klafim all the way to the bottom. You leave a little space there. That din is halach l'mosh misinai. They also pounded it into the heads of the people. Lo amra l'kadesh lo yikara. The reason for this is because otherwise, if you tighten it, it'll tear. Moshe Rabbeinu and Eliyahu Navi were placed in a cave when the Shekhinah appeared to them. If there was a hole in the cave, even the size of a needle, they would not have been able to stay alive because of the intensity of the light. Shenemar ki lo yirani adam v'chai. That besides the Torah Shebichsav given to Moshe, Moshe was shown all the various detailed derivations of all the future Chachamim throughout the generations. Umashat Sofer Matin L'Chadish, my new Mikra Megillah, particularly like Mikra Megillah, which was a new mitzvah. Even that was shown to Moshe Rabbeinu by Har Sinai. Mishnah. HaKol Kshen Likros Asa Megillah. Everyone can read the Megillah, Chutz Mecher Shoyte V'Kotten. A deaf mute, a Meshigana, and a minor. Rav Yehuda Machshir B'Kotten. Man Tana Cheresh that the Eved Namilo. Our Tana seems to suggest that a deaf mute even cannot be Yotze B'di Eved. Amrav Mas Rabbi Yossi, he did not. Hakore et Shema v'lo Yishmiel Azno. Person reads Kriya Shema but can't hear it, Yotze. Rabbi Yossi Yomer lo Yotze. Because he can't hear it, and the Gemara wants to say, must be the same by the Megillah. We might Rabbi Yossi, who says that our Mishnah is Rabbi Yossi B'di Eved Namilo, Dim Rabbi Yehuda. Maybe it's Rabbi Yehuda. Ulachatchila Yehuda lo. Had the Eved Shaper Dami. Rabbi Yehuda holds that a Cheresh could do it B'di Eved. The Gemara says lo sakadait. That doesn't make any sense. Our Mishnah has got to be Rabbi Yossi. Why? Diktani Cheresh dumi the Shoyte v'Kotten. Because it listed Cheresh Shoyte v'Kotten in the same breath, which implies Cheresh is similar to Shoyte v'Kotten. Now, nobody holds that a Shoyte v'Kotten is B'di Eved is going to be good. The B'di Eved Namilo of Cheresh, the B'di Eved Namilo. Afraid the Gemara v'dil b'hakadis of hakadis. So who says maybe Cheresh and Kotten is one din? That means B'di Eved no, but Cheresh is B'di Eved yes. I'll show you why not. Because Midiktani Sefer Rabbi Yehuda Machshir b'Kotten. So Michlal Dereisha Lav Rabbi Yehuda. So it's clear. Can't be. You can't. You want to say that the Reisha was Rabbi Yehuda who holds that maybe the Cheresh B'di Eved is okay. Well, it can't be. The Reisha can't be Rabbi Yehuda. It's got to be Rabbi Yossi because the Sefer is Rabbi Yehuda. Freik the more v'dilma kula Rabbi Yehuda. Maybe the whole Mishnah is Rabbi Yehuda, and that will explain the Reisha. The Gemara says, "Mi dami." You can't say that it's the same Tana because Reisha l'psula, the Seifa l'ksheira. The Reisha gives me who is apostle, and the Seifa said is machshir b'katan. Frag the Gemara v'dilma kula Rabbi Yehudi who trey gavni katan k'tanila. Maybe it is still all Rabbi Yehuda, and we're talking about two different types of ketanim. V'chasurim mechsav achik and perhaps there's some words missing. We have to amend it. Hakol kshen likros Megillah chutz mecher shoyd v'katan. Now, what kind of cotton? A cotton who is not on the level of chinuch yet. Then he could read it even lachatchiluch. Rabbi Yehuda machshir b'cotton. So the Gemara wants to say maybe that's how the Mishnah should be learned. The Gemara says, I understand. B'mayu kimta. Who are you establishing the Mishnah like? Rabbi Yehuda. And what? B'di'evet. That lechatchila no, but b'di'evet yes. But what about that which was learned by Rabbi Yehuda, the son of Rabbi Shimon ben Pazi? A cheresh normally is a deaf mute. He can't hear, he can't speak. But what about if you have a cheresh ha'medaber ve'eino shomea? You have a cheresh who's deaf but can speak. The Gemara says, Torem lechatchila. So he can give truma, even though he has to make the bracha, and his ears can't hear the bracha. And he can do it even lechatchila. Now the Gemara says, Mani, Rabbi Yehuda. This seems to be a din in lechatchila. So Rabbi Yehuda says, "Di'evet in lechatchila lo." Rabbi Yehuda also didn't say you could do it lechatchila. Rabbi Yossi di'evet nami lo. So who is the author of that Mishnah? It's not Rabbi Yehuda. It's not Rabbi Yossi. Elamai, what are you going to tell me? It's Rabbi Yehuda v'afil lechatchila. The way we want to explain our Mishnah, that can't be either. Person cannot think birchas hamazon. You got to speak it out loud. The imbirech yotza. How you can't do it lechatchila, but if he did it, you're yotze. So mani, lo Rabbi Yehuda, lo Rabbi. If you're going to say Rabbi Yehuda's din is lechatchila, then who is the author of this brisa? It's not Rabbi Yehuda, because he Rabbi Yehuda fil lechatchila. It shouldn't just be b'di'evet that you yotze. It'd be yotze lechatchila to do it. Rabbi Yosef fil di'evet nami lo. So the Gemara answers loyal Rabbi Yehuda. We will explain the Mishnah like Rabbi Yehuda, and this will continue tomorrow night, 8 o'clock.